Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and today I wanted to do a quick video talking a little bit more about hellebores. They are of course just now starting to bloom here in my Zone 7 North Carolina garden, and I have a couple different species that I wanted to share with you because you actually kind of grow them and treat them a little bit differently. So let me give you an up-close and personal introduction to the stinking hellebore, also known as Helleborus Orientalis. Helleborus Orientalis gets its name from the strong scent of its foliage. And you can see it's got a very different growing habit in that it grows on a central stalk. And the leaves come off of it, and in this case, this is a hellebore that you do not cut the foliage off of. Now it's just starting to put out its kind of central spike of flowers, and they're very typically this sort of bright chartreuse. And one thing about Helleborus Orientalis is they can be really seedy, like definitely fall into the invasives category. So my recommendation for growing this, if you don't want it to spread everywhere, is just to simply pluck those flowers and use them in floating arrangements. If not, be sure to cut the flowers down before the seeds ripen. Otherwise, you'll probably have a bit of an infestation. I happen to love it because it grows really well in dry shade. I mean, here it is planted at the base of a water oak, and animals do not eat it at all. In fact, hellebores are all quite poisonous, so you know, deer, rabbits, groundhogs, even your pets, they instinctively know to leave it alone. It's a super low maintenance plant, does not get irrigated in my garden, and other than a handful of plant tone, usually once in the spring and once in the fall, it doesn't really get any additional fertilizer either. Overall, I highly recommend it, but I do give you caution because I don't want you to be surprised by the fact that it might seed around. Now here on the other side of that water oak, I have Helleborus Orientalis, or also known as Helleborus hybridus. And this is what most people associate with being hellebores or Lenten roses. Now you can see I have not trimmed this foliage back, and it's really quite unsightly. This is a variety that tends to bloom a little bit later, and if you get down in here, you can see the flower buds are starting to form. So now is the perfect time to cut back this old foliage because I won't run the risk of trimming any of the flowers off. Now the cool thing about these new varieties of hellebore is that they've actually been bred to be sterile. They're not completely sterile, but they definitely set less seeds than the old-fashioned hellebores used to. Now remember, it's best practice to cut your hellebore foliage down. That will prevent the spread of a deadly virus. And it will also allow you to enjoy the blooms so much more because they won't have the old leaves hiding the flowers. And remember, hellebores are best grown in part shade, and they're very drought tolerant. So these are a plant that you can basically use as an understory plant under other trees and shrubs, and they'll bring you great beauty through the middle of the winter season. My trick for keeping hellebores in check is just to simply pluck these flowers off as they open, and then I'll get to enjoy them in a floating flower arrangement. Floating hellebores is actually the traditional way for people to enjoy the blooms, and it's the solution to make sure that they don't become unruly cedars in your garden. It's just as simple as getting a container with no drainage holes. You can do this inside or out, and just put fresh water in and drop the flowers so that you can enjoy. Of course, you can mix them with other things. In fact, I think I am going to take some strawberry leaves to give this some extra oomph. I hope you found this video to be helpful. If you liked it, please share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to the Bree the Plant Lady YouTube channel for more practical gardening advice. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.